OneMore. I'm your host, Brian Erickson. Each week, we bring in new guests, sit them down on Hendo's couch, and find out why they do what they do. And this week is no exception. We've got two excellent guests. We've got musician and band leader Chris Fox, and we have world-renowned podcaster Bill Lambusta joining us today. But first, and as always, Chris Dubrow.
Mr. Brian Erickson, how are you doing?
Better now.
Better? You feeling good?
I'm feeling all right.
We're live and you're feeling it?
That's it.
I like this. You've gotten some good, like, I don't know, laudals to give our guests. I like world-renowned podcaster.
But that's not untrue.
I believe it, yeah.
He's not world-renowned.
Yeah, I mean, it went number one, but, like, I had a podcast, and it was, I wouldn't even say, like, town-renowned. Like, I don't even think the people in my immediate general vicinity knew about it.
What was your podcast called, and did you tell people about it?
Yeah, I know. I told people about it. Actually, I was thinking about it today. It was a Firehouse Studio, which is the studio I run.
Studio, yeah,
I was doing, like, interviews with, like, local musicians.
Okay.
It was a good time, and I had Fern on, like, way before Fern and I knew each other, like, going on, like, almost 2 years ago now.
Fern from the Burns.
Yes, Fern from the Burns and the Foes of Fern and every other band
and
in
Avery
existence.
and the Man Devils, yeah.
And we were talking, and he was like, yeah, I got this show. It was hooked up by me, this guy from the Paper Jets, either Brian or Eric. I can't remember which one.
I don't know who.
Yeah.
I don't know who he's talking
so
about.
What I had him do was I was like, just say Brian from the Paper Jets and then say Eric from the Paper Jets and double check, and I'll cut whichever one.
I like that.
And then he sent me a text message while I was editing. He was like, oh, yeah, it's Brian Erickson. So I just put in a note. It's like, he's going to say both, but the guy's name was Brian Erickson. That was before I knew you. So this is like this weird apocryphal story about you that I now have.
Excellent. And that's how we got to know each other.
That's how we got to know each other, through Matt Fernicola not knowing your name.
Yeah.
Years ago. And here we are.
Wait, years ago, but he and I only met last year.
Yeah, it was years ago. It's probably not right. It's probably...
Well, a year and a half ago.
Yeah, about a year. It's honestly about like a year ago, maybe a little bit more.
Okay.
Because that was also when we were going to do a Game of Thrones podcast before that last season came out.
So you never told me what the podcast was called.
Oh, it was called, it was originally called Live from the Firehouse. Now I think it's called the Firehouse Studio Podcast. It still exists, and like the episodes are still on.
Oh, yeah?
Yeah, I stopped making it because,
Because it's hard.
It's hard to make a podcast.
Yeah,
which we'll find out tonight.
Which we're going to find out
tonight. We're going to grill him.
We're going to grill him.
Yeah, we're going to find out every step of making a podcast. And I just got sleepy. Like, I remember there was, because I edited them. It wasn't, like, uncut. There was, like, multiple times I'd be, like, editing at, like, 3 a.m. and fall asleep.
Oh, yeah. No, it takes hours to do it.
And, like, at the end,
and it takes even longer to do it right.
And in the end, you get, like, 20 listens on SoundCloud. And you're like, I've made it.
That's it. Yeah,
that's my success story.
When you break that 20 mark,
that's a big one. You get that email from SoundCloud. There's no email from SoundCloud. When you get that, it's a big one.
Yeah, there's none.
It's hopeless. Anyway, how have you been? What have you been up to? What are you doing?
We're gonna find out what I'm up to when we do our shows this week. I got quite a busy week.
You got quite a busy week coming up. What'd you do the weekend? I don't know.
Saw my family actually. They came down. My brother-in-law turned 32.
How's that feel?
We celebrated. Well. He said it feels fine.
Okay, I'm good for God. I'm happy for him.
No, my mom came down, my sister, brother-in-law, their niece and nephew hung out. And
so the whole fam jam.
Yeah, the whole fam jam this
That's
weekend.
Cute.
It was really nice.
I feel like I'm sounding condescending, but like that sounds like a lovely evening.
No, you sound fine.
I think I always think I sound condescending because I'm most of the time condescending.
Mostly.
So I think it just comes off that way even when I'm trying to be genuine. Sorry,
but
Ava.
No issues there. No, you sound good. Like
cool.
It's
Glad to
family,
hear that.
Family weekend is what we had this weekend. It was very nice.
There was play dates. There was activities.
Yeah.
Did you do a puzzle?
A lot of Captain Underpants.
How the movie?
TV show, I think.
Is there a TV show of Captain Underpants? Can we do some research?
I don't know. My nephew.
Got a research assistant.
Yeah, my nephew.
There's a movie, I think.
Is it just a movie?
Yeah, there's also books.
Because I was pretty surprised. I was like, wow, Ed Helms is here. Like, what is it? Like Jordan Peele, I think was part of the cast.
I'm gonna say
I was pleasantly surprised at the number of famous people involved in the Captain Underpants project.
See, that's
Weird Al wrote a song for it.
Yeah, this is the thing. I'm upset that I don't have any like nieces or nephews or like small children around me.
Or songs written about you by Weird Al.
Also, yes, but like I'm upset because like I've totally missed out on the culture of like kids movies in the past like 10 years. I haven't seen a Disney movie in years because when am I ever going to sit down and watch one? You know,
Never.
I'm in my 20s. So, like,
You need a small child.
I need a small child, and I can't just rent one and show a movie to. I mean, I could, but that wouldn't end too well. So,
You know what? I think on that note, speaking of small children, let's bring in our first guest, Chris Fox.
Wow. Hi. How are you?
Good. I figure we start off with a burn.
Oh, like
Start
the
off with a
burns?
burn. No,
never
not.
heard of them.
How
Who
the
are those
fudge are you?
guys? I'm okay, man. How are you?
I'm doing fudging great.
I know what you're doing.
A what?
I know what you're doing.
Well, fudge you.
Off to a great start.
This is good. Yeah, episode 4. OneMore 2.0. Episode 4 is off to a rousing beginning.
The beginning of the end.
Yes.
Why didn't you call it 2 more?
Well, it's not a 2 more.
It's not.
Well, each guest plays 2 songs. Oh no. I hit a sour note. You'll hear more of them later.
So how have you been? When was the last time we were in a room together? It's been a little while.
Ooh. I don't
Indie
know.
Fest? Has it
Indie
been that
Fest?
long?
Oh,
Back in
yeah, it
September,
was,
October?
No, I saw you at the Wonder Bar.
Oh yeah.
Yeah.
We don't talk about that.
Yeah, it doesn't quite
We're
count.
not talking about that
What doesn't,
night.
why doesn't
Well,
that
you
count?
got- we had-
you got plastered.
Well, he had. The thing was, he had
remember-
soul.
oh, you-
No, but he had soul, but he just wasn't a soldier.
He was not a soldier.
That
No,
was
he was
good.
a trooper for how much you drank.
I tried to be a trooper that
Real
night.
talk. Do you remember that set? Like, do
Yes.
you remember the set? Okay.
Oh, I remember that.
Okay,
set.
good.
There was one photo of you and I.
Yeah, I think
the good-
Matt
the good
and
doctors
Fern,
in it?
Matt Smith, our producer,
and Fern were all singing. We're all singing that Killers
singing
song.
the Killers
together.
song.
That was
a
great.
fun night. Yeah,
it was a good time.
Thank you
Yeah.
for helping escort me.
You know,
home
I was
that
there for
evening.
like the rest of the night too, right?
I do remember.
Yeah.
that.
It's all
Hashtag
coming
low
back
lit.
to him.
Yes.
Hashtag low lit.
Oh, it's not. I remember.
Well, speaking of
and
weekends,
I appreciate. Yes.
I
thank you.
was at a bachelor party all weekend.
Yeah?
So like my voice is like half shot, and we took a party bus to
I've
Delaware.
never been on a party
A
bus.
party bus is awesome.
Now,
there
can I
there was
ask you-
stripper pole, and that was it. Just
you
a
sure
pole.
that's not just like the pole that you hold
It was
on
holding
to
up the bus? No,
when
no.
you take
No.
a bus?
Nope, because I broke it.
Okay.
I'm
You
swinging
broke
around
the
it.
stripper pole on the party bus?
Well, yeah,
That's
I'm
a
not
little
as light
too
as a
party,
stripper.
Can I ask though, why would you take a party bus? Like it's like party bus
No,
to
no.
Delaware.
Imagine. Oh well, we went to see a cover band.
That's like a discipline. Like we're gonna take
cover
a party
band?
bus.
It's
to
a cover band
Delaware.
called the Rockets. They do like modern pop. The Bachelor is a huge fan of them.
Okay.
And I couldn't say I was a giant fan. Like they're very, very talented, but I just like don't like pop music.
Okay.
So it's like I don't want to hear anyone
Odd
sing
because you're
Lady
in
Gaga.
like a pop band.
I mean,
of sorts.
I like the pop songwriting format, but yeah, like the world of like divas. I don't consider myself a diva.
Yet.
No.
All right. So let's talk about.
That was painful to watch.
It
I
was-
think
it
everyone
was
watching thought like
being-
the stream just froze.
being me in that moment was wonderful.
Yeah, you hold all
I
the
saw him
power right
panic.
now. Normally in a
I'm
a
the
talk
captain
show.
now.
So let's talk about. You came from a band called Boxed Wine.
Yes.
And speaking of like parties, because you kind of considered
Actually-
yourselves like you marketed yourselves as a party band.
We played on Friday for The Bachelor. It was a private engagement.
So Boxed Wine actually played a
It was
reunion of
a
sorts.
struggle. Yeah, and thankfully I'll shout out James, Ruby Bones' drummer, stepped it up. Our original drummer Steve has a concussion for like a year, and
Well, a concussion
yeah,
will put you out for
he
a
got
while.
messed up. So yeah, and he was nice enough to jump on, and he did the show, and he did it perfect. It turns out he made the joke. He's like, all I have to do is a dance beat to every song, like a simple and every single one of our songs fit over it.
Wow.
Yeah, and it turns out he used to do a punk beat, and that's every Ruby Bones song. It's not different.
So drummers, take note.
Take
Yeah,
note.
just-
You don't have to
just in
do
case.
anything. It's really
So, you had a little bit of like little bits of success with Box Wine in terms of like you guys like license some music out.
Yeah,
and,
we got a-
you know
we got a
like
few
it
commercials.
made it out of the immediate area that you were playing a little bit.
yeah.
Right.
And it was good. I think I might have some fans somewhere around the world. I think a lot of Germans just like it was weird. We would get like
Really?
things
Like
in
big in
Germans.
Germany?
Yeah. So,
That
like,
checks out. That
Shout out
checks
to
out.
Cloudy SC. She's a fan. She's German. You know Cloudy? No,
I
okay.
don't know Cloudy.
All right, well. I don't
Should
either.
I?
I don't either. She's an internet presence.
Okay.
But yeah.
No, go ahead.
Oh,
I was gonna say what happened? Why? So if you're kind of breaking out a little bit, if you're experiencing a little bit of recognition or renown beyond your immediate area,
wildest dreams.
why
Why
stop or why break up or why switch to a different project?
Well, 2 of the band members have jobs that make them over $100K a year, completely unrelated to music. So they were
Okay.
like, "We're gonna do this."
So they didn't really have like that. They didn't really have like a stake in it. Say the way
No,
you
well,
did.
I mean, like Ralph and I are like we're buddy, and we still hang out. And we still actually, it's technically everything's just on hiatus, but
Okay.
But we realize it's not. We could never really tour. We all had jobs. Actually, I'm still going through the same thing. Like it turns out you need to work for money to buy goods. Horrible.
Well,
I don't
isn't
know
that that's the lesson from The Simpsons, right? Like
Yeah.
money can be used to buy goods and services.
Yes, exactly.
Right when Homer
When
had
you
to
find-
choose
he is-
between the
he-
money,
he's- I can buy a peanut. Right?
or I think it was a box, like a thing of yodels, where he really wanted the yodels, or like the $5 bill. It's like money can be used to buy goods and services.
Ooh. But
And he opted for the yodels.
Yeah.
So in essence, like choosing music is like opting for the container of yodels.
and that's pretty much it. You have to opt for kind of what makes you happy. And so, yeah, when Box One wrapped up a bit, I started focusing. I had all these other songs that didn't fit the mold, and
Yeah, the punk beat instead of the dance beat.
yeah, exactly. So we did that, and now I'm doing Ruby Bones, and it's awesome. I really like my band.
How'd you find your guys? How'd you find
I happened
your two
to.
guys?
Well, James actually came from another band called Twin Berlin.
Okay.
They were based around the Boston, Connecticut area, and they were great. They actually won a Guitar Center contest and recorded with Travis Barker.
Wow.
Apparently, he just did nothing. He was just there, super up there.
That
checks
To-
out.
that-
Again, these
yeah,
are all
yeah,
facts that are
that's-
checking
all facts.
out.
No, but
The German
they
fans,
recorded with
Travis
him. But I knew him, so our bands played together a little bit. And when he happened to move down to the area, so when I wanted to put together a band and do something new, I asked him. He said yes, and then I worked with FC, our bassist, and he's from South Africa. He's an import. We imported him like a fine wine.
he's got a great name, FC Spies.
FC Spies, yeah.
That's a
apparently
good
it's
name.
Spies,
Oh.
but
FC
in
Spies.
America, no.
Because it looks, I read it. It said FC Spies. I'm like, yeah, that's a good. That's a name that's a name for the marquee.
There you go. And well, actually, it's funny you say that. So you have FC Spies, and you have Chris Fox, and then you have James Janoka. But James's wife's maiden name, they got married, I think 2 years ago, maybe.
Okay.
Her maiden name is Stone.
Oh.
And I relentlessly attack him. I'm like, how did you not take Stone?
Yeah.
Jimmy Stone?
Yeah.
That's for you, James.
So you guys put a self-titled record out last May.
Yep.
That was a pretty good release party. I was there, and
Yeah.
yeah, I was
APYC.
there. What's that?
APYC?
Yeah, APYC. I was there, and our next guest, Bill, was also there too. So we can
was
all
a-
reminisce together.
That will be wonderful.
That was a good night. And you guys, I guess, kind of followed a little bit of the boxed wine tradition or way of doing
just
things, in that you managed to kind of break out a little bit. Like you guys charted on Billboard.
We did. Oh,
You
yeah.
had a couple of big premieres.
Do you have our
and-
highlight reel written in
I
front
do.
of you?
Consequence of Sound, Pop Matters, and number 7 on the Billboard Heat Seekers. Though
Yeah.
I could
The
turn
Mid-Atlantic chart. I can't even
turn
say.
the paper over, and I could have told you that.
I was
That's
so
just-
mad because Power Bottom beat us.
Did they?
Yeah.
Oh, rest in peace, Power Bottom.
After
I don't want to comment on those guys.
no, I don't want to comment about it at all. But they beat us after that whole thing. I was like,
They still beat
I
you
was like,
after their whole.
yeah, in our
is-
area. In our area, they. But of course, they had a ton of clout. So
And it was also
behind
the
them.
pre-sales is what did it.
Yeah. Well, our
yeah.
pre-sales is what did it too. The industry's dead, man.
I mean, I guess in terms of pre-sales, maybe not so much.
Yeah, no, I mean, like I can start a pre-sale now and release a record in like 2024, and I'll hit number one. I will.
Wow, so
I will do it.
That's
So,
thinking
so
ahead.
local
In fact,
bands
it's not the
take
worst
note.
idea.
That's not the worst idea. I'll buy it.
There we
Yeah,
go.
right.
the
for
album
the
2024.
for the
Just be
right
like, that's
price.
what's
Yeah.
coming.
2024.
So you were known as Chris Nova
Yeah,
in
yeah.
Box Wine, and even on that first Ruby Bones record, and now you're Chris Fox.
Mm-hmm.
Why? And you're kind of like I've more than most local musicians I've met. You're very much about marketing and branding and kind of staying.
Branding is everything.
So why change your brand?
Well, I got married. I'm a married man now. I'm tied down.
But
and-
Chris Nova wasn't your.
Well,
Your
the Nova
name.
lineage had to end. It could not continue. It was done. The time was up, and I also just really like the name Fox. I like that name from like a huge X-Files fan, and yeah, that was it. So
And
I just
that-
decided I'm like I feel like dishonest, and that was it. But what's funny is because I had like a different stage name before that one. And I changed it at some point too. I've like gone through like 4 of them. I don't know.
Okay, so this is not so much a like a Prince kind of changing the name one time. This is more like a Sean Combs. Like you have your
Yes.
succession of pseudonyms.
He just changed his name to Love. I will be changing mine to Lust. That will be my new name.
So
Not funny.
As look, I appreciate the effort. I'm sure Brian did.
in my mind, I appreciated it. But no, I wanna you also seem to kind of have a way of
Getting under people's skin.
no, I was gonna say sort of
Finishing
sort
their
of-
sentences.
No,
There it is. Here's why I like it. Normally in a talk show, like he has all the power. You have just skewed the power balance.
you
Not with my
you-
wife.
you kind of have this knack for like hooking up with other bands and kind of
Thank God.
getting your sort of putting your stamp on them a little bit. And I want to talk about 2 specific instances.
Oh my God. Are they
I
right
want to talk
behind me?
about I want to talk about them, but I want to talk about Cold Weather Company and their first album that you and Ralph from Boxed Wine kind of worked a little bit.
Yeah,
you guys
Ralph did that. Yeah, Ralph did that album. All credit goes to him.
and they said like you had a little bit of a hand in the sequencing or
I
something.
have
Like,
this
did they call
weird-
you as a consultant or
No,
or
I'm
what?
just like an ass. Is that a curse?
no. That's
Fudge.
it's fine.
But yeah, no. Yeah, probably like they had a really, really long album. It's like over an hour long, and like,
Okay.
but I like offered to say like, because I have this hobby on the side. I want to like start a blog about it at some point, and it's really like this. It's like a horribly selfish thing, but I feel like a lot of records that come out, sometimes a record won't do well, but I'll love it, and like in my head I'll be like, well, what if like it could have been more successful if they followed like a certain like there's kind of like a thing with building a record and building. I like to build 2 sides of a record. I don't want to do too much into it, but I tried to help. I offered to say like, hey, I love doing this. And what's funny about that is that like 2 of the band members like really liked it. They're like, oh my God.
Well,
And-
there's only 3 band members, so
Yeah.
you kind of got that.
and
you got
one
that
was like,
vote.
no, no, let's not do with that. And they did a totally different track listing. But who am I? They have like 1 billion streams on
Yeah.
Spotify. They're killing it. And yeah, I know nothing. I am.
And you also, my understanding is, convinced Ben from We're Ghosts Now to include "Haunt Me" on their first record, which
I can
of course
lightly brag about that.
turned into their biggest song.
Yeah, I like so. Late in recording their album, he showed me that song, and the person who's recording the album was like, no, we're done. They've spent too much time on this record. Like, I'm done. I don't want to add any more. And I was like, no, you have to do it. I will like put my stamp. I will put my name on it. Like, you have to do it, please, for me. Because like we're close.
Yeah.
And he was like, ugh, fine. And I not even heard the song. He didn't even know how good it was. And then they played it, and he was like, oh, okay.
Yeah,
I
and the
totally
song,
get it. And
yeah.
that ended up being like the main single. They did the video, the best music video, local music video I've ever been a part of. Yeah, oh god, all the music videos I've done have been terrible, except for the most
Except
two
for the most
ones,
recent Ruby Bones
because I had
video.
no hand in them. I had nothing to do with them.
So we had a private conversation a couple months back. We talked about, and this will be kind of our wrap-up question here. You mentioned, we talked about what it would take to get a band to truly break through, and perhaps why that hasn't really happened yet. And you said it hasn't happened because no one has made anything good enough to break through. Now, my question is,
Boy, this is so loaded.
what are you doing to change that for yourself? And do you think Ruby Bones is, do you think that gives you the best chance to do it?
Yes. Sorry,
Ladies
someone
and
laughed.
gentlemen,
What are you doing to change that?
No, oh no. I also think there's another way to, if you put out consistently good material or try your best to, that eventually you can build some sort of following. Like, I make music because I like making music. I'm not. I try not to like. Everyone has some kind of like jump for success, but it just depends. I think like a song could come out of nowhere. You had like Portugal the Man this year, absolutely kill it, and then Hail
With the
Satan
remake
at the
of
Grammys.
Wait a Minute, Mr. Postman.
It didn't. Oh, is that a thing you noticed?
Yeah.
Oh, I
Wait a
didn't notice
Minute,
that.
Mr. Postman.
Oh
Yeah,
wow!
that's-
Oh my god!
Did I just
didn't-
blow your mind?
I didn't even. Yeah, that kind of blows my mind.
Wow.
I mean, it's not the Radiohead Lana Del Rey thing, but
No.
that's pretty.
It's close.
Yeah, it's pretty damn close.
So, consistent body of work then.
I think consistent body of work is the most important thing.
Okay.
So, but I hear that you might have something coming out soon that might be that song.
Oh yeah, maybe. Well,
I
we'll
would-
have to
I-
save
a
that for
little
another.
birdie told me.
I mean, we're gonna have to save that because we're out of time.
Okay.
But thank you, Chris. Much appreciated.
Oh, thank you for having me.
Let's take it over to Mr. Dubrow.
Do I stay here?
Yeah, just hang out. You can read the ad with me if you want. Mr. Pizza Slice. Red Bank Institution with a new vibe. For over 45 years, Steve operated Mr. Pizza Slice on Monmouth Street in Red Bank. The new owners have 100% kept the original pizza called Steve's Original Pie, as well as the signature Italian hot dog, my nickname for Brian, and French fries, of course, Brian's nickname for me. New additions include pizzas with various toppings. Thank you, Bart. Various toppings, like you can see here.
Plain slice, right here.
Yeah, it's great toppings. Various toppings that can be ordered by the slice, hot and cold sandwiches, and smaller appetizer dishes. Chris, please take the slice of pizza from me. It's just sagging everywhere. We have kept a lot of Steve's feeling here in the classic video game machines and added delivery service, longer hours, and Sunday hours. Mr. Pizza Slice. It's pizza by the slice. That's not their slogan. Brian?
Let's bring our next guest up. What?
We were hoping you'd eat it.
Oh, no, I'm not gonna eat that.
Fudge!
Let's bring our next guest up, Bill Lambusta from the Great Albums Podcast. Chris, you want to scooch over?
Oh, I'm gonna scooch over.
Yes, please.
Oh, hold up, herpes.
All right.
No, I'm kidding.
Wait, what? Oh my God, this is totally off the rails.
Ooh,
Hey,
boy.
Bill, how are you?
All right. How you doing?
Nice to meet you.
Yeah, long time coming.
Long time listener.
Yeah, long time.
First time guest.
Long time admirer. I've watched you from across many parking lots.
Thank you. Oh, many middle schools.
So what was this that we were talking about? That you've got something coming up?
I know we're out of time for that. For our viewers who might not be so familiar, you host a music program, a podcast called The Great Albums.
True.
What's it all about?
It's a podcast about great albums of music where me and you.
Ah, you just pulled the lever. Yes, I am the co-host of the show.
We sit down every week, usually with a guest, and we talk about a great album. We talk about the music like fans do. Try to just kind of talk about people's stories around the music. Chris has been on there. Got to have him back again.
I did. I feel like I talk too much on it, so I'm trying to stay
no.
quiet right now.
Well, that's why we had you two together. We try to have guests that may know each other so that everyone's comfortable on the couch.
Yeah. Speaking of which, like, I'm not sure how far back I should lean. You know, like this thing keeps going.
I mean, I can help.
Don't take a black light to it.
I know nothing about this. This couch did not belong to me, so I can't.
So the podcast, each week we talk about an album and we do a track-by-track review. And we've had a lot of great guests on there, including a lot of people from the local New Jersey region and the larger, the world at larger.
The world at large.
Yeah.
I think, and I think thus far I've plucked quite a few guests from the podcast to come on this show. I'm basically working my way through the guest list right now. So you've played in 6 different bands.
Is that true?
Yes. Do you want me to name them?
Please.
None of This, Luck Out, the Solids, the Jets, Glad Hearts, and Small Planet Radio. So you played in 6 different bands over the past.
You forgot Bootstrap
15.
Bandits.
Oh, and Bootstrap 7 different bands.
Yeah.
Oh, because Bootstrap Bandits to me, it didn't occur because it's like it was more of like a project.
Right. It wasn't. It was just 2 people, not 4 sweaty dudes.
Yeah, but I mean, you put out 2 pretty good EPs, so that counts. So
Did the Ink Spills not count?
They didn't do anything. Did you guys play a show?
Yeah.
Oh wait, I think I played one with you.
Yeah, dude. I played like something like a dozen shows.
You've
or
been
something.
in 8 different bands.
Okay.
Over the past decade and a half.
Okay.
Or so now.
Now it's more sounding correct.
But for the past 3, now going into the 4th year, you've hosted, I think we can safely say, one of the more popular music podcasts probably in the world.
I hope so. I'd like to think so myself.
When you play in a band, you're literally like begging people like, oh yeah, come to my show. Oh, I'm playing here, I'm playing there. And you're lucky you get like a handful of people to come out. How do you reconcile like your experiences playing in bands against, the positive experience of the podcast, meaning like you can say, hey, write to us, and people reach out and they correspond and they react to things you say.
Meanwhile, at the shows, it's like, hey, does anybody have any requests? And some douche in the back is like, Freebird!
Yeah.
And, a totally different experience.
So how do you reconcile one experience against the other?
I don't. It's still kind of hard for me to wrap my mind around the fact that people are listening to the podcast. Like, I know that people are listening, on an intellectual level, but like understanding it, I think it'd be too much for me to grasp. It's Jeff Ament from Pearl Jam. He once said in an early interview where he talked about like 10 being like, he's like, I don't even understand how there's 10,000 people seeing my band play, let alone 10 million people purchase this album. And we're nowhere near 10 million.
10 million.
It doesn't get any better.
We're just, we're creeping around, we're happy with that 10,000 even.
Yeah.
But it's hard for me to grasp because it's all around the world, and very occasionally we run into people and find people that have listened, and it's like, oh, hey, like Chris was one of those guys.
That's actually
I'm on your subreddit now.
Oh,
Follow you.
Yeah, and actually, Chris became a guest on the podcast because I think he and I met at the Saint in Asbury.
I complimented your shirt.
Well,
you always wear. Actually, why did you change your shirt?
Well, because this is what I wear on the show.
Oh, okay.
But wasn't it something like I was talking to somebody and they said, "Oh yeah, Brian, blah blah blah," and
I bumped into you. I remember it so vividly, like it was yesterday.
But but then okay,
I literally just walked into you. You were a giant man, and I bumped
tall,
into you
yes.
and like spilled a little beer. I was like, "So sorry, man. Also, I love your shirt," and you're like, "Thank you." And then
what am I, Lurch? Like, come on,
you're very
man.
tall.
Yeah, but like, thank you. Like I'm like George Mirasan or something.
And then so I was randomly. So I was there to see Ben, I think, and then our mutual friend Ben from Weird Ghost now, great band.
Did they play that night? There was
Maybe.
Dentist. There was Dentist. And,
I might have been there to see
Gay Guy
Dentist. I
Straight
bought their
Guy.
record that night.
Yeah.
So I bumped into you, and then I was introduced to you randomly later as like, oh, this is like my friend, and someone like Brian Erickson, and I was like, wait, why do I know that name? And then you said something. I'm like, why do I recognize this voice? And then I just fainted. And when I came to, I was like, wait, are you that guy? And you're like, yes. And I had to do it again. I'm sorry. And that's how I like fanned out. But then you fanned out because you were like, wait a minute, someone listens? And you brought me to your friend group that was there, and you're like, "You're not going to believe this. This guy listens to the podcast."
Well, I was hanging out with Lowlight, so they're so good. I had to have something to brag to them about because they just, respect. And it's like, hey, I have something also.
I got a thing. And
I got a thing too, guys.
And I was like, it's true. And then we became like lifelong friends. And then I bugged you enough to let me on. And then we argued it was a battle of wits over Spoon for like 3 hours.
That was a good episode, though.
I feel like we should all just hold hands now.
So, were you surprised at how quickly people jumped on board and started listening? Because it happened within maybe 2 months,
So,
if that.
Fun fact, this is actually the anniversary, and I know this because of Facebook told me.
Okay.
3 years ago on Facebook, I had put a post being like, hey, I've had a really great time making like these first four episodes of the podcast. You should really check it out if you haven't. And the reason why I did that post was because I was super depressed that we had so few people listening to the podcast.
And now you're famous.
I don't know about that, but I actually know the number. In the first month of our podcast, we had 156 downloads.
Oh, wow.
Between 4 episodes.
That's not that many.
How many is it now?
A lot more.
Oh, wow. Don't brag.
We've hit like 2.5 million overall.
Wow.
Yeah, I think so. But I mean, that's across a whole bunch of episodes.
Well, isn't it weird? More people have listened to you than they have to me. Probably.
I
That's
guess so,
likely.
yeah.
But, I mean, have you put out new content twice a week, every week for 3 years?
No.
So
You haven't been following?
I follow.
So I was very disappointed in it, and it's my birthday on Wednesday, so that was my birthday weekend.
Happy early birthday.
Happy
Thank
birthday.
you. And I was I was like, I want to get to 200 downloads by my birthday. That was the goal, and we didn't make it, and I was super duper bummed. And I remember talking about it with people and being about how bummed I was, and I was like, oh man, this stinks. And I mean, it wasn't going to stop me from doing the podcast. I love doing the podcast. We had also recorded a ton of episodes, so
we
it wasn't
had
going
like
anywhere.
8 or 9 in the bag by then. We had at least another month before we could have, shut the door on it.
And
You're like Rocky.
what?
You're like Rocky.
Yeah, exactly. I was ready to just pack it all in.
There you go. You did porn first?
No, that's Sylvester Stallone, not Rocky.
They're not the same thing.
Yes. So then a week later, all of a sudden our downloads started like jumping up.
Yeah.
And I was like, what the heck's going on here? I had no idea what was happening. And then it was like a whole day and hundreds of downloads later. Like we had as many downloads in a day, in half a day, as we had for the entire month of January. So it was like, oh, awesome. This is great. I have no idea what's happening. And so then I went and looked on iTunes, and sure enough, we were featured in the new and noteworthy. And I was like, oh, and that kind of changed everything. People started listening, and it helped us build a base of people, and people just keep finding it.
So you wake up one morning this past February 2017.
Yes.
Feeling like P. Diddy.
You check your phone, you check out like the stats and everything like that. It's middle of the week, in between the Monday and Thursday episode. The show's number 1.
Yeah, I didn't go and check it right away, but yeah.
I'm trying to paint the picture. I'm
Okay.
trying to get you like the James Lipton sort of
Right.
like, you wake up, you check, and it's number 1.
What it actually was I looked at our download numbers, and I was like, why are they? It jumped again like tenfold from what they had been from 2 years prior. And I was like, what the heck is going on now? So then I was like, I learned my lesson last time. I didn't go right to iTunes to see what was going on. So I went to iTunes. We weren't featured in New and Noteworthy. But then I just went to the regular featured page, and we had a banner on top.
Yeah.
Like, we got featured again, which was crazy. And I by the way, I've got no idea how this happened. We didn't like campaign for it or anything. It's iTunes just has their own way of doing things.
Well, they recognize talent.
I guess so. We have a fan at iTunes, I guess, which is nice.
Some nerd.
Hey, don't.
They work at iTunes.
We are all music
Nerds are a good thing now.
Yeah, that's true. Yeah,
Yeah,
not
some
in the
nerd.
not in the John Hughes like some nerd
For the freaks and geeks.
the lambda.
Yeah.
No, this is like, some nerd. All right, power to the nerds. And so we were number one, which was crazy.
Now, has that?
We were number one in music podcasts.
Well, yeah,
That's
number
kinda
one
like
on
your
the
Mid-Atlantic
music on the.
billion. I mean,
Yeah.
you're
Yeah.
my favorite murderer.
We were in the top 100 of the general podcasts.
Yeah.
Which was still amazing.
So yeah, the number one music program.
Yeah.
What kind of insight do you feel the guests bring each week, or has there been any particular bit of insight that a guest has brought that has changed the way you listen to music?
Every week, I think. Because especially the albums that I'm not too familiar with, there's a few that we go in and I'm like, yeah, I know this. And then someone says something, I'm like, yeah, I read that same opinion on a message board like 7 years ago, But for something that I'm less familiar with, and the guest comes in and they share their own point of view on it, and then that always makes me appreciate the music 1,000 times more, even something that I'm like middling on, And then I come out going like, oh no, I really like this a lot just because I understand that perspective so much better.
Not my episode.
No,
Remember?
it definitely. Your episode was great. Stop being so self-deprecating.
Oh, I'm not self-deprecation. You just didn't like the record.
Well, yeah. Now I remember because it was Spoon. It was Spoon.
So
Which I don't dislike Spoon.
They didn't turn your camera on?
They didn't turn.
That's the name
Mess
of the
with your
song,
mathematical
certainly.
mind.
You messed me up, Chris. I had a question that wasn't on the sheet. That's it. You're fired.
All right.
No.
It's probably saving myself.
16 years, Brian. That's the answer
What-
to your question that you
From
didn't
playing.
ask.
What can you give me? Because you came in, you're like a rock guy, like a rock and roll fan.
Yeah.
What has been the most sort of unusual, like the record, if you have one or two that you've listened to the most that you've said, or that a guest has brought that you didn't maybe think you'd like, that it turned out you really, really enjoyed?
Madonna.
Yeah, Madonna
Yeah.
is the one that surprised
Like
you.
a Virgin.
The album's fantastic.
That was I went in going like, oh, it's gonna be a pop album,
Oh, wow.
from the 80s, and I came out going like, oh no, this is like a masterfully crafted album.
One might say you were touched for the first time.
Yes.
And the last question I have, for you: do you have any type of insight to lend to anybody that wants to start their own podcast, and not necessarily a music podcast, but just something, about something they enjoy, something they feel like they can share?
Find something that you love to talk about, and then put a mic in front of your face, and keep doing it. Don't stop doing it. Follow what you find is your passion, and stay true to yourself. Don't try and create what the audience wants. Do your thing, because that's how you're going to find your niche. And finding your niche is how you're going to find your audience. Finding the people that excuse me, I went the entire interview without that, and it just crept up on me.
No, hey, that's all right. Hey, live TV, man.
Yeah. Find your niche, find the thing that you love, find your way of talking about it, because that's all the great albums is. It was us going like, this is how we like to talk about music. So let's talk about music this way every week. Because there's so many like discovery podcasts, interview podcasts, performance podcasts, and that's not how I partake in music. For me, it's putting on an entire album of music and listening to it and listening to something that I've loved for years and years and loving it again by listening to it again, and then finding other people to do the same thing.
That's great.
So do the same thing for whatever you love. That's my advice.
What if it's like murdering children?
Don't do that. I believe that everybody has the right to pursue their own way of happiness. But if your happiness is interfering with someone else's by killing them, don't do that.
Bill, sage advice. Thank you so much for coming. Let's kick it over to Chris.
So much. That was a massacre. All right, one more with Brian Erickson is brought to you live from Mammoth Music. Established in 1987, Mammoth Music is located at the center of historic Red Bank, New Jersey. Voted third best town of the United States by Smithsonian Magazine. Brian, do you remember what number 1 is yet? Stanton, Virginia.
Wait, it's a different one every week?
No, it's Stanton, Virginia. Look that up. Home of Blackfriars Playhouse. That's true. But in any case, Mammoth Music in Red Bank. We're located within walking distance of the famed Count Basie Theater, Red Bank train station, and many fine eateries. Mammoth Music continues the tradition of being a destination store for all levels of musicians, both beginner and professional. New owner Mario Di Bartolo, a lifelong musician, offers a wide selection of brand name instruments at everyday low prices, both new and used, with personal, professional, and expert service only a family-owned and operated store can provide. Brian, does a neck on your banjo or guitar need repairing? He said yes. Chris, do the valves on your saxophone need to be refitted?
Every day.
That microphone was not on. Regardless of what day it is, bring your instrument to Mammoth Music for quality repairs. You'll enjoy prompt service from a team of repairmen who are always available. I got no slogan. Ladies and gentlemen, Chris Fox of Ruby Bones.
Hey, we're good?
Yeah.
Beats and cavities, moves itself about your chest. Touching all the things you love, pumping all your blood in between, saving all its love underneath. Oh, but I can never turn it off, I can never cut the loss. You got a heart of darkness, darkness. It's not the love you wanted, you wanted. How did you get so cold? It's not a heart of darkness, my darkest love. My darkest love. And it's in all your magazines, your faded dreams, your fantasies, alcohol and cheap cassettes, like a sleeping TV set. Just one cigarette, finally. You could use some rest in between. Oh, but I can never turn it off, I can never cut the loss. You got a heart of darkness, darkness. It's not the love you wanted, you wanted. How did you get so cold? You got a heart of darkness, my darkest love. My darkest love, oh, my darling love, oh, my darling love, oh, my darling. You got a heart of darkness, darkness. It's not the love you wanted, you wanted. How did you get so cold? You got a heart of darkness, my darkest love. Woo. Hey, thanks. This is nerve-wracking. I thought it was.
All right. This week's events, Tuesday, 1:30. Brittany on Fire hosts a Sessions open mic at Tumulties in New Brunswick. Sign-ups begin at 7:30, so get there early.
Also, the Chubby Pickle in Highlands presents a Vlasic Classic open mic hosted by the one and only Cranston Dean. Sign-ups are like at 9. Who knows? We're all going to be drinking. Wednesday, 1:31, our very own Brian Erickson will host Joe P. of Deal Casino, Kate Dressed Up, whom I love, Cook Thugless, and the one and only Ashley McKinley at the Asbury Hotel in Asbury Park. What?
Kate Dressed Up. I think she's going to be a guest here next week.
Is she? Also,
She's gonna be
check
a
that
guest
out.
next week, yeah.
So go see her tomorrow. Go see her Wednesday. Shut up. And then see her on the stream on Monday. Falling Apart. Brittany on Fire is also returning to the Saint in Asbury Park to help celebrate her welcome return. She'll be hosting the Angry Pirates, Death by Fiction, Alpha Rabbit, Cold Weather Company, and did I miss one? And our own former
guest, Brian Rothenbeck.
Brian Rothenbeck, doors at 7:15. Jesse Elliott will be at the Havana in New Hope, Pennsylvania for his first performance of 2018, doors at 8 p.m. Thursday, 2/1. Heather Lowry hosts Heathers or Heathens, an evening of music and comedy. Acoustic sets by the one and only Pam Flores and Dustin James. Comedy performances by Gordon Baker Bone and more. Doors at 7:30. Proceeds to benefit to Conservative of Sea Turtles. I'm mumbling nonstop tonight.
That's all right.
You want to take one?
Hold on.
Hey, man.
You're doing okay.
Thanks. We're all panicked.
You're doing
Do you want
all
to take one?
Yeah.
What's the next
The
one?
Beehive Collective presents Secret Mountain, Certainty, Near Sight. Which end?
That one.
This one? Near Sight and Program at the Flemington DIY. Doors at 7:30.
Yeah,
Should I do this one?
Do this one. Do it.
Friday, February 2nd. Brian Erickson is performing solo at the Chubby Pickle. That's really all you need to know. Doors at 8 o'clock.
Zaritza at the Drome in New York with Mark Radcliffe at 6:30 p.m. Pino's in Highland Park is hosting its monthly Irish
That
sessions.
has nothing to do with music, by the way.
What is the Irish sessions?
It has nothing to do with music.
The Asbury Hotel hosts Experiment 34 Unplugged with Where Ghosts Now and P-Funk North. Also, Avery and the Man Devils, Dan Amano and the Sentimental Gentleman, and the Lords of Liechtenstein Cul-de-sac will be at the Saint. It's a winter coat drive, so go to the Saint, bring a coat, donate it, and see a great night of
That's gonna be
music.
your first time going
Never
to the
been
Saint.
there.
Never
Can't
been
wait
there.
to check it out. Here it's got some great
Great
tone this time. Saturday, 2:30. Brian Erickson is at the Mill Hill in Trenton with Alpha Rabbit. Shut up, Chris. Erotic novels, Caruso and Wax Wave at 8 p.m. Former guest Tara Dente is at Clancy's Tavern in Neptune. She asked me to play that, but I can't play it with her because I'm going to be at the Chubby Pickle with Avery Mandeville, Julian Fulton in the Zombie Gospel, and Christine Mitchell. Christine is an angel, and I love her dearly. Also, the Court Tavern is hosting a tribute to the late Smithereen singer Pat Denizio at 8 p.m. He misspelled that one. The Double Negatives.
No, I didn't.
Oh, I mispronounced it.
Yeah, you mispronounced
The Double Negatives. Good Luck Spaceman and Sunshine Spaz are at the Asbury Park Yacht Club at 8:30 p.m.
I didn't.
You did.
I no, I didn't.
Shut up.
I did type clib by accident.
Oh, that was a mistake that was made.
Yeah, sorry.
Anyway, Sunday 2/4, U.S. Bank Stadium in Minneapolis, Minnesota will be hosting the 52nd annual Super Bowl featuring the New England Patriots and the Philadelphia Eagles. Doors open at 6:30 and tickets start at just $3,000.
Back to Chris.
Please, God.
Wow.
2, 3, 4.
No. I just wanted to say this one goes out to Nacho. Also, I listened to Brian Rothenbeck's album.
Really good, right?
It's real good. Who's Nacho? Matt Smith, the doctor. Anyway, here's a song. It takes a lot of love to break this heart. What you say before you rip me apart, and I cannot find a way back home. Oh, I cannot find a way back home. Through the woods under darkest stars, try to run, oh, it's just too far, and you find yourself asleep at night. Another one, you're tucked inside, or you wanted to stay there with you. And I wanted to Oh, I swear now, my darling, you surround me. I stand beneath the radio, feel your arms around me. Well, suddenly you have to go on. Get away from here, I'll wait for you. To the end of autumn, leaves are falling through. Try to run or you just can't hide from all the colors as they run inside. When you find yourself awake at night, you toss and turn in the sunlight. Well, I know that you know your name, cried out, if only in vain. Well, that's all I'll say, oh yeah, that's all I'll say. And I wanted to stay there with you. Oh, I wanted to. Oh, I swear now, my darling, you surround me. I stand beneath the radio, feel your arms around me. Suddenly you have to go on. Get away from here, I'll wait for you. To the end of autumn, leaves are falling through. Darling, you surround me. I stand beneath the radio, feel your arms around me. Suddenly you have to go on. Get away from here, I'll wait for you. To the end of autumn, leaves are falling through. To the end of autumn, leaves are falling through. To the end of autumn. Hey. Oh, you guys come up. Oh, there it is. Brother! All right.
Bill Lambusta, Chris Dubrow, Chris Fox, everyone here at Monmouth Music. This has been One More. I am, have been, and I remain Brian Erickson. Have a great night.
Good night.
Good night.